Familiar with this video that I did several years ago. So your family suffered under communism. Why should I care? I figured this would be an apropos time to revisit it in the context of what happened on October 7th in occupied Palestine. Of course, we know that Hamas is not a communist movement, honestly. In keeping with the theme of this, I don't care. Whoever hurts the people that need to be hurt is good, and merits and warrants are full-hearted, full-throated support. Why? Because, okay, we live in the West, right? We literally live courtesy of the exploitation of the people of Yemen, courtesy of the exploitation of the people of Palestine, courtesy of working people all over the world, right? So when these people rise up and take history into their hands, it's not for us to gainsay or try to engage in ideological battles. These people are literally fighting the wars that we need to be fighting. Che Guevara, everybody that has taken history into their own hands has called on us in the United States to assist in the world historic task of making revolution. And that is what we need to be focused on, not on condemning or critiquing these people who by no means are perfect. But what exactly is perfect in this shitty world of ours? Nothing. There's nothing perfect. So when we see resistance, when we see rebellion happening, when we see people that are storming the heights, people that are storming heaven, we need to support them. So why do I not care that people who own plantations, people who profited greatly off the miseries of the people of China, of Cuba, of Africa, of Vietnam, why do I not care that these people suffered under communism? Well, look at me, for fuck's sake. I'm a black fucking American. My people have gone through every fucking atrocity, every fucking barbarity courtesy of white people for 500 years. So why exactly am I expected to care that these people had their property confiscated, that these people were no longer able to live the lives of exploiters? Why should I care? I'm happy that they got expropriated. Hell, I'm even happy that they got shot. Because that is what we need to do to exploiters all over the world. That is what we need to do to see communism. A classless, stateless, moneyless society where there is no exploitation of person by person. I mean, just look at the fucking engagements. People were, quote, retreating and saying that, let me tell you about your country. I look nothing like that. That looks like an oil banditized version of Mao, but whatever. Meet Lovett Fort Whiteman, black American, communist, obsessed with Comrade Stalin and the Soviet Union. I wouldn't say obsessed. Starved to death to the gulags in Kolyma, USSR. Why would I don't think that's a good thing. If I recall correctly, I literally mentioned this when I retweeted a post from Working Class History on the anniversary of this man's death. So you're a terminally online historical revisionist and a genocide apologist and base your entire worldview on a weird crush on dead authoritarians and contrarianism. Why should I care? I'm not a historical revisionist, okay? As a matter of fact, I'm almost a professionally trained historian. I mean, I literally have a degree in history. I'm not a professional historian by any accounts, but I have historical training. I don't do revisionism. I don't do the fucking Grover Fur thing where I try to cover up the really fucked up shit that happened during the Stalin era. I don't do that. Because why? Because I'm a communist, and communism is about the ruthless critique of everything that exists. And last time I checked, the communist movement is a thing that exists. So I would never, ever do that. I don't have a weird crush on dead authoritarians. As a matter of fact, I've actually gotten in trouble with a lot of Maoists because I criticize Stalin. Mao also criticized Stalin. So your crackers got controlled by communism. Why should I care? Funny. Your ancestors suffered under slavery. Why should I give a fuck? And a lot of people are like, this is pretty much half the quote retreats. Like, oh, so your people suffered under slavery and apartheid. Yeah, I already know that white people do not give a fuck about what happens to black people. I'm fully aware. That was part of my training as a black American young man growing up. I already know that white people don't give a shit about us. That's why we have to get together, unite under communism, and take all of their shit. Save for the toothbrush. I don't want to use any crackers toothbrush. My family ran away from 2 different countries because of communism. It is oppressive and it kills people. No, revisionism is oppressive and it kills people. That's the thing. As a Maoist, I differentiate between actual socialism and revisionism. Revisionism is the bourgeoisie in the communist movement. And I do not support the bourgeoisie in the communist movement. As a matter of fact, Mao literally said that if China reversed the flow that they were doing, reversed and veered off the communist road, that it would be right to turn around and rebel against that. Why? Because that party is no longer a communist party. That party is a fascist party. It's a revisionist party that oppresses the people, that denies them the right to strike, that fucks them over, and has nothing to do whatsoever with the project of building world communism. So yes, when people say stuff like this, usually they're talking about revisionism, but also they're talking about like the family who were white immigrants from Russia, monarchists and kulaks and all sorts of other nasty people. Yeah, I don't give a fuck what happened to those people. Those people were exploiters. Those people were evil. Those people needed to be destroyed and fucked over as a class, because as Lenin taught us, a state is not independent. A state is not standing above class, okay? The state is an apparatus for one class and its domination over other classes. The proletarian state, the dictatorship of the working class, has as its aim communism, of course. It's a transitory period that Mao predicted would last hundreds of years. Anyways, the purpose of the proletariat state, the dictatorship of the proletariat, is to suppress and crush rich peasants, suppress and crush the bourgeoisie, suppress and crush those who work for the imperialists to their own personal gain. Your family enjoyed communism. Many people enjoyed communism. Many people are nostalgic for communism. So your family survived the Holocaust. I'm not Jewish. Yeah, generally just racist shit. So you have a punchable face. Why shouldn't I beat you with the hammer? I don't know. I think I've got quite a bit of riz. Same mentality as, so what if your ancestors were enslaved? If I had one wish, like if I rubbed a bottle and a fucking genie came out, well, first of all, after I recover from the shock, I would just wish that people on Twitter could actually engage with ideas in a principled way without being racist. Like, just for once. So, to sum up, what the fuck are these? What the fuck are these victims of communism? Just a bunch of Nazis, essentially. Nazis, kulaks, reactionaries, revisionists, people who, like, really, the world is fine without them. The world continues. The world goes on without Tsar Nicholas and his family. The world continues and goes on without kulaks who hoarded grain and starved their countrymen. So no, if your family was a kulak, if your family was a member of the Tsar's family, if your family was a landlord in feudal China, and landlords in feudal China, by the way, were not like the landlords that we have here, who are still horrible people. Like, these people literally would force you to sell your daughter to them if you were late on your land rent. Okay? These people literally come to your house and do all sorts of despicable things to your wife. These were not good people. So, who gives a shit? It's good for the cause of humanity and its continued existence that these people are no longer with us. The only thing that I regret is that we did not kill more. A group of Israeli settlers set 12 cars on fire overnight to an automobile exhibition belonging to Aziz Hamed in my hometown, Biechin. Aziz is a Palestinian with U.S. citizenship who returned to Biechin 3 years ago to live and work there after living more than 50 years in St. Louis. So he was a homeboy. And see what the Zionists did to him? This is important. 24 soldiers were killed on the deadliest day for Israeli forces since in Gaza combat. Skill issue. Like, why should I care that your family is in the IDF and is helping to commit these atrocities? Look at this. 16 cemeteries in Gaza have been desecrated by Israeli forces. 16. Why would you go and vandalize where the dead sleep? Medical facilities battered amid Israeli assault in Khan Yunis, say Palestinian officials in Gaza. Corpses on streets amid scenes of utter horror in Gaza. So this is shit that's actually happening because of these people. Like, do you know what these people were fucking doing? Like, they were getting ready to blow up. They were laying mines to blow up civilian houses. They were laying mines to blow up civilian houses, and some fucking hero shot 2 RPGs at them, so they were blown up by their own explosives. Again, skill issue. Don't do fascist shit, and you won't get the just desserts of fascists. Straight out of Williamsburg. Look, this is a fucking nerd. He's cuddling behind a fucking blanket because he's getting ambushed. And of course, the Zionists for the community mentions. This is a good video. Let's watch it. Like, guerrillas are going to be studying this for centuries. These people have horrible aim. Why are you shooting at the wall? There's nothing there. This is how come they keep killing their own people. Like, they've done more damage to the fucking wall than to the resistance.
אני מלבול בלי נצרה!
This brings me to this. I always got to refer to Malcolm. I think I mentioned him once every fucking stream. So, watching this video, like, I thought about this quote. Up in French Indochina, all these little peasants, these rice growers, took on the might of the French army and ran all the Frenchmen. You remember Jenin Fu? The same thing happened in Algeria, in Africa. They didn't have anything but a rifle. The French had all these highly mechanized instruments of warfare. But they put some guerrilla action on. And white men cannot fight guerrilla war. Guerrilla action takes heart. It takes nerve. It takes literally running up to a tank with dudes still in it. A device that can literally crush you without thinking and putting a bomb on it and blowing it the fuck up. Guerrilla action takes heart. It takes nerve, and white people do not have that. He's brave when he's got tanks. He's brave when he's got planes. He's brave when he's got bombs, thousands of bombs that he can drop on little kids and old women. He's brave when he's got a whole lot of company along with him. But you take that little man from Africa or Asia or Palestine, and you turn him loose in the woods with a blade. That's all he needs. All he ever needs is a blade. When the sun comes down, goes down, and it gets dark, it's even Steven. The day when settlers, the day when Zionists can do shit like this on the ground, it's over. Because the Palestinians are on the ground too. The Palestinians are on the ground too, and they know the ground better than anybody else. So you're not going to win in Gaza. If they were smart, they would pull out. They would pull out and they would surrender to the resistance, and they would sit down and negotiate what this free socialist Palestine is going to look like. They literally dropped the building on top of them. Netanyahu says, I mourn for our fallen heroic soldiers. I hug the families in their time of need, and we all pray for the peace of our women. No, you don't. Your own people hate you, bro. And Khan Yunis, by the way, is where they evacuated most of the people of northern Gaza to. Now they're attacking that as well. Why? Because this is a war of extermination. And the Zionists in the community notes are saying, this soldier isn't hugging a blanket. He's wounded and attempting to staunch the flow of blood. No, he's not. He's hugging a fucking blanket. That's a security blanket. The passport pros are getting killed left and right in Colombia. Nothing of value is being lost. Elon went to Auschwitz the other day. Why? Because the people who run that museum, they're not interested in stopping genocide. They're interested in promoting Zionofascism and allowing anti-Semites like Elon Musk to launder their reputation. Remember Libs of TikTok? One of the people from it has been appointed to state power in Oklahoma. She is now the state's Department of Education Library Media Advisory Committee. Ooh. Bad things are certainly not getting ready to happen. If you don't understand why Israel would promote the most toxic and racist anti-Semitic freaks that are supposedly pro-Palestine to the top of this website, then you don't understand how Hasbara works. Yeah, let's pick people that make the whole cause look bad. Let's pick people that hate black people. So that why? So that we can convince them that the pro-Palestinian movement is anti-black. Israel literally retweeted this guy, and then after that, he just automatically fucking blew up, and he got 1 million followers in a month. Since Israel's genocidal war on Gaza started, Israel has extracted sperm from at least 88 dead IDF soldiers. James Rayrold dropped another banger. Let's see. Sergeant Jizmail. No, Yugoslavs are not white. You all are. I think Ben Franklin would call you all tawny or swarthy. Sergeant Jizmail on the case. Imagine you join the IDF for the glory of isn't real, and on your first day they hand you a guy who's been blown up from the belly button up, and you get told to start pumping. I would do very horrible things to myself if that was the case.
I just want to ask y'all one thing. Why y'all
come die for genocide?
Why y'all sleeping?
Imperialism has laid its body over the world, its head in Eastern Asia, its heart in the Middle East, its arteries reaching Africa and Latin America. Wherever you strike it, you damage it, and you serve the world revolution. Hassan Kanafani, 1962. Come, commandos. I don't know how they extract the semen. Look, do I look like an expert on IOF semen extraction efforts? This is good to think about when you are, the Palestinians are trending. I wonder why. Totally, probably not for racist reasons. I'm afraid to click on that. This is good for when you think that you've been fucked over by your party. I mean, if your party is actually fucking you over, you should definitely quit. But like, people are often complaining like they feel that they've been overlooked. So always remember to persevere in plain living and hard struggle. Maintain close ties with the masses. It's a cattle prod that goes up the ass. Kinky. After all, we are a revolutionary party, so we make it a principle not to allow anybody to starve to death. As long as one isn't starving to death, one should do revolutionary work and exert oneself. Even 10,000 years from now, people should still work hard. A communist is supposed to work hard and to serve the people with his whole heart, not with half or 2/3. Here's another evil thing. Starving Palestinians in Lebanon, Palestinian kids, are being victimized by these things. The Israelis, the Zionists, the fascists, the bad guys are dropping these cans that look like food. You're a hungry fucking starving kid. So you're going to pick this up, you're going to pull this thing, and you're going to be blown the fuck up.
What?
There was this Lebanese lady on my feed earlier saying that when she was growing up in Lebanon, she was told not to pick up anything that looked like food or a can because it was likely to be a booby trap. American soldiers did this in Vietnam. Evil reinvents itself. Old but new.
واضح انه موجود داخل كل علبة صاعق زي ما انتم شايفين. هذه هي صواعق خطيرة جدا في حال فتح العلبة بطريقة ما بيتم تفجيرها بشكل مباشر، ما يؤدي إلى بتر بشكل أو قتل الأطفال الموجودين اللي بيلعبوا فيها.
But again, I'm supposed to give a fuck what happens to these fascists. Like, I'm supposed to give a fuck. Fuck them. Fuck the people who died under communism, or socialism rather. Long live the people who died under revisionism, feudalism, and capitalism. Those are the people who I care about. My people were fucking slaves. I don't care what happens to people who own plantations. I don't care what happened to the rich. Those who got rich through exploiting people like me. I don't care. Why should I? Like, name one reason. And don't give me that fucking common humanity shit. Because if we were a common humanity, if we weren't divided into classes, then people wouldn't be doing the fucked up shit they're doing to make life a living hell for billions of people. But when one of them gets killed or injured or something bad happens to them, then we're all fucking human beings. Later for that. That's not going to work. Here's Mao proposing reforms to the education system at the Spring Festival. At exams, whispering into other people's ears and taking other people's places ought to be allowed. If your answer is good and I copy it, then mine should be counting as good too. Whispering in other people's ears and taking examinations in other people's names used to be done secretly. Let it now be done openly. If I can't do something and you write down the answer, which I then copy, this is all right. Let's give it a try. We must do things in a lively fashion, not in a lifeless fashion. There are teachers who ramble on and on when they lecture. They should let their students doze off. If your lecture is no good, why insist on others listening to you? Rather than keeping your eyes open and listening to boring, stupid lectures, it is better to get some refreshing sleep. You don't have to listen to nonsense. You can rest your brain instead. I'm voting Mao for superintendent of St. Louis public schools. Israeli settlers are digging child-sized graves in front of a school for a Palestinian Bedouin community in Jericho in the West Bank this morning as a threatening message for the community. But I'm supposed to care that these people got fucked up on the 7th. Israeli soldiers are planting explosives to blow up 10 civilian homes in the Maghazi refugee camp in Gaza to purify the area, totally not engaging in ethnic cleansing. An RPG missile fired at them triggered all of the explosives they planted and killed 21. I heard that the death count is up to 24 IDF soldiers. We are descendants of Africans, Igbo, Yoruba, Bambara, Mandinka, Wolof, Mende, Fon, Ire, Ashanti, Ga, Fante, Hausa, Fulani, Congo, and so on, enslaved in the U.S. Whites on plantations brutally imposed a slave identity and replaced our Africanness with caricatures about Africa. So, yeah, that's why I really don't fuck with Abos, for a variety of other reasons, of course. American descendants of slaves. Because, like, slavery is not my identity. That's not how I identify myself. I am a descendant of Africans who were enslaved and then liberated themselves through their own hands. I'm proud of my people's resistance. That's how I identify. I identify as a descendant of rebels and maroons, not of fucking, not of people who were born to be slaves.
People are not the descendants of slaves. Here are 3 reasons why you sound corny when you say that. I'm Brother Legend and I'm here to raise your consciousness. The first reason is Africans brought to America were never slaves. They were enslaved people. Calling them slaves robs them of their humanity and reduces their identity to their second-class social.
It reduces them to objects.
Status. Freedom cannot be given or taken. It can only be failed to be recognized. Enslaved people were free people whose freedom was not acknowledged by their oppressor. Number 2 is no people on earth are ever called descendants of how they were oppressed.
Yeah, like imagine calling Jewish people descendants of Holocaust survivors.
You don't call Palestinians descendants of the Nakba. You don't call Jewish people descendants of the Holocaust. You don't call Native Americans descendants of the Trail of Tears. But why are we the descendants of slavery? Reminder, this is people we're talking about. And the third reason it's corny is because the reason they tell you you're a descendant of slavery is because they don't want to tell you you're a descendant of Africa. All throughout the world, the proper name of a people relates to land, history, and culture going back thousands of years. Those ships did not bring foundational Black Americans, descendants of slaves, or even Black people. It brought Africans.
A fucking man.
But a people without knowledge of their history is like a tree without roots. You cannot subjugate a people that know where they're from.
Exactly. Which is why you will never defeat Palestinians and you will never, ever defeat conscious Black people. This was genuinely the craziest political ad in modern American history.
Our LGBTQ citizens.
If Caitlyn Jenner were to walk into Trump Tower and want to use the bathroom, you would be fine with her using any bathroom she chooses.
That is correct.
In the future, can transgender women
That's why this country is fucking doomed. This country is fucking doomed. Like, stable countries do not release political ads like that. Stable people running for president of stable countries do not release insane ads like that. Motaz has been forced Motaz has been forced to evacuate Gaza after over 100 days covering what's happening to his people. God bless him. Allah bless him.
So this is a famous word. Maybe I kept saying it during the 107 days. This is the last time you will see me with this heavy, stinky vest.
Hello from Russia. It is very smart black man that knows all about communism time.
I decided to evacuate today. So
this was actually his first time on an airplane, if I recall correctly. Isn't that actually a very common name in Russia, Semyon?
we're sorry, but inshallah, hopefully soon come back and help to build Gaza again.
Yeah, like they basically killed this dude's entire fucking family. I can't imagine recording my people's fucking massacre for 107 days. That's fucking crazy to me.
So I will miss these people. I spent the whole days with them. Even once of time him picked me up.
Yeah, you could tell like this guy is loved by his people.
The office, it's fine.
Yeah, he's currently in Qatar. I interviewed Costco worker Fernando Perez for Jacobin about he and his co-workers unionizing their Virginia store, bringing 289 members to the Hoffa organization. I'm sorry, the Teamsters, building on the union's 18,000 plus Costco beachhead. Is Costco the next Starbucks? We're not disappointed in our employees. We're disappointed in ourselves as managers and leaders, wrote outgoing CEO Craig Jelinek and then President and now CEO Ron Vakris in a memo on December 29th. Motaz is stronger than any IDF soldier who's ever lived. He's stronger than the entire IDF. The fact that a majority of Norfolk employees felt that they wanted or needed a union constitutes a failure on our part. you people still don't fucking get it. You still don't fucking get it. So here's the interview. Luis Leon says, tell me a bit about yourself and how you came to work at Costco. Fernando Perez says, I started at Costco in 2013, 2014 as a seasonal employee. At the time, they were paying $4 more than what everyone else was paying, and they were saying they treat employees well. They always say that. They care about your vacation time. You can get insurance while you're still part-time. It seemed like a great fit. All season, I tried really hard, and they had to let me go. They don't have to let you go. They want to let you go. They told me, we'll give you a call. I didn't expect much from it because I'd heard that before. And then 6 months later, they did give me a call. I've been working at Costco ever since. This is the 4th building that I worked in, and at that time, I've learned a lot. Currently, I'm a cashier on the front end, but I've helped in the deli, and I've helped push carts. I believe I'm at $28 an hour. So why did they decide to organize a union and join the Teamsters? Because the management would use the term needs of the business. So if you put in a schedule request, they would deny it and not give you a legitimate reason. They would just say, oh, well, that's a need of the business. Fuck the business. Or if you needed extra time to do a task, they would say, you're not meeting the expectation. It's a need of the business. That is extremely dystopian. I started hearing needs of the business just before COVID, and it seemed that became more and more frequent. 9 years ago, I would never hear needs of the business as an excuse when you're asking for help, or when you need training, or you need time off for family issues, or when you need vacation time. That's wild. So he identifies like the primary contradiction as like this whole needs of the business shit. You have a packer and a cashier. You're supposed to be one-on-one, and then they take your packer away and they tell you, oh, it's the needs of the business. We don't have enough people right now. We're trying to hire people, but we can't find anybody. Bullshit. Bullshit. You can find people. They use understaffing as a weapon to keep this fucking sword of Damocles constantly hanging over your head so that you can think that you can be fucked over at any time. And they figure that if you're fucking overworked, you won't have time to organize because you're too fucking tired. All power to them. People keep dumping on me for joining DSA. Like, what am I supposed to fucking do? Like, just go join another fucking little Maoist study group or some shit? Like, fuck that. I spent like almost 10 years doing that shit. DSA is the largest socialist organization in the country. What's impotent are these little splinter groups and study groups. Remember that video I did on how if you vote for Biden, you have blood on your hands? He's saying it far. This guy is saying it far better than I would. This guy has just gotten bombed.
ولا فيها أي حاجة كلنا مدنيين قاعدين لا إن في حماس ولا إن في مقاومة ولا إن في أي حاجة مدنيين إحنا أصلا من الشمال حزب نتنياهو الحقير توجهوا إلى مواصي خانونس توجهنا اجينا لخانونس في أماكن آمنة هذا إنسان حقير هو بايدن هو المسؤول عن إبادة الشعب الفلسطيني هذه محرقة وسببها الحقير بايدن نتنياهو بايدن يتحملون مسؤولية المحارق الزبين.
So, if you are still inclined to vote for Biden, I hope this guy comes and shakes the shit out of you. This is relevant. Why I don't care about Zionists and why we don't care about people who suffered under communism. Like, this is not just me. A lot of black revolutionaries, a lot of black radicals have this sentiment. Like, we're sick and tired of being expected to, like, drop everything. Drop the horrible shit that's continuing to happen to us into our Palestinian comrades and be like, oh yeah, you're such a sweet little Zionist. Why aren't these mean-ass Palestinians do these evil things to you? It's okay. It's going to be okay, Shlomo. Fuck that.
Black woman in America. Calling me an anti-Semite.
What is my opinion of the DFLP? I have a very high opinion of anybody that's actually fucking throwing down against the Zionists.
It don't fucking hit. It does not hit. Y'all can try it if you want to, but it doesn't hit. Because if you can look at my face, look me dead ass in my motherfucking eyes, and look past all the fucking parallels between what this country has done to my people, mine. You don't see the parallels between what this country and Israel is doing to the people of Gaza, Congo, Sudan. If you can look at my face and look past my history and what you arrive at is anti-Semite, then I guess you reached your motherfucking destination. I guess you did. Because I don't give a fuck what you call me. Free Palestine until it's motherfucking backwards. Says this black woman in America. Yeah.
Like she said, it's just not hitting. That shit has nothing, like, it's not hidden. It's not hitting. Like, we're not Louis fucking Farrakhan talking about how people came off fucking mother wheels or out of Yaqub's fucking test tubes. That's not us. We're making cogent, principled political analyses, and that's all y'all can summon. That's all you can. That shit's old. It's not working no more. Dexter King, Martin Luther King's youngest son, died the other day. He had prostate cancer. He was 62 years old. So if you're getting up there in age and you're a black man watching this, go get yourself checked out. I know we hate doctors. We want to be the strong, manly men, the breadwinners, the providers, but like, we can't do shit if we're dead. Like diabetes, prostate cancer. This shit is like killing us. Like 62, that's fucking young. Okay, we should be living into our 80s, 90s, shit, 100s. But we eat like shit. We eat like shit if we have working class jobs. Like all those 40 years, 50 years worth of McDonald's scarfed down in the fucking Schnucks or factory parking lot. That's gonna kill you, bruh. Arteriosclerosis. Like, come on. Go get checked out. I also love how him and MLK the Third, like, they wore their mustaches in tribute to their dad. Yeah, prostate cancer, high blood pressure, high stress. Like, these are #1 killers of black men. Like, I need to cut back on my cigarette habit. Otherwise, that's going to cause me problems. This is from a book, well, a comic called Is This Tomorrow? America Under Communism. It's basically like this fiction about how communists take over the United States by infiltrating the highest levels of the government.
Joe Biden.
I never liked AOC. I'm proud of that fact. I have never liked AOC.
Hit it. You know, honestly, here's the thing. I think sometimes people want electoral politics to be, we overly identify.
Is that a fucking typewriter?
With it's like, if you vote for someone, they have to be the embodiment of you. And that's actually something.
Yeah, like she's basically a slightly more left-wing Puerto Rican version of Nancy Pelosi.
I think Donald Trump provided to a lot of people, where it's like, if you voted for him and if you were a Donald Trump person, like you want, like it symbolized so much. But I think what we have here in this situation is a more just honest thing. There are plenty of things that
she talks out of one side of her mouth, then she switches to the other side and talks out of the other side of her mouth. She has no political principles whatsoever.
The president does that I completely disagree with. I think, you know, right now what's happening in Gaza,
like, people look up to you. Like, show some fucking moral leadership. Show some fucking moral leadership. Roundtable interview of spokesmen from the respective brigades on how the United Front contributed to their various successes. Abu Ubaidah and Abu Hamza are absolute. The focus is on the other factions and their roles in the 2014 Gaza war. Interview conducted by Wael al-Dadoua and Tamar al-Mishal on September 4th, 2014.
شهداء الأقصى، كتائب المجاهدين، ألوية الناصر صلاح الدين، كتائب الشهيد أبو علي مصطفى، كتائب المقاومة الوطنية، كتائب الناصر صلاح الدين، كتائب سيف الإسلام، وحدة الصاعقة، كتائب الأنصار، جيش الإسلام، حماة الأقصى، أسماء الأجنحة العسكرية للفصائل الفلسطينية التي قاومت وصبرت والتحمت في مواجهة العدوان. صحيح أن كتائب القسام، الذراع العسكرية لحماس، تصدرت خلال الحرب المشهد عبر سلسلة من العمليات النوعية والكمائن المفاجئة، عبر عمليات التسلل خلف خطوط الجيش الإسرائيلي وعمليات الضفادع البشرية.
I'm forever impressed at like the level of technical skill and advance that they've displayed and that they have. Like, they got frogmen, they've got naval activities, they've got drones and snipers. Of course, most of the shit has come through Iran, but it's amazing. Like, there's still a guerrilla force, but like, shit, in another 5 or 10 years they'll be rolling out tanks.
والبحرية، إضافة لعدد من التطورات النوعية في الأسلحة كسلاح الطائرات بدون طيار وسلاح القناصة. في هذه الحلقة الجديدة من برنامج غزة تنتصر، ارتأينا أن نعرج على بعض الفصائل العسكرية الأخرى لنلقي الضوء على واقع المقاومة ومستقبلها. في الجزء الأول سنحاور عددا من المتحدثين باسم هذه الفصائل العسكرية، أما في الجزء الثاني من هذه الحلقة فسنكون في جولة ميدانية مع مقاتلي سرايا القدس، الذراع العسكري لحركة الجهاد الإسلامي. في هذه الحلقة نرحب بضيوفنا الكرام من المتحدثين باسم الفصائل العسكرية. أولاً أبو خالد، المتحدث باسم كتائب المقاومة الوطنية الذراع العسكري للجبهة الديمقراطية لتحرير فلسطين، أبو محمد المتحدث باسم كتائب شهداء الأقصى.
I love the squad just chilling on the building in the back with all their flags.
لواء الشهيد نضال العمودي. وثالثا أبو أنس المتحدث باسم كتائب المجاهدين، أبو جمال المتحدث باسم كتائب الشهيد أبو علي مصطفى الذراع العسكري للجبهة الشعبية لتحرير فلسطين. وختاما مع أبو عطايا المتحدث باسم ألوية الناصر صلاح الدين الذراع العسكري للجان المقاومة الشعبية. وقبل أن نبدأ الحوار مع ضيوفنا الكرام نترككم مع هذا الفاصل الذي يجسد لحمة ووحدة المقاومة في الميدان خلال العدوان.
بيان عسكري موحد صادر عن الأجنحة العسكرية لفصائل المقاومة الفلسطينية.
Once they start putting out drill beats, it's over for them. It's over for the Zionists. They will not be able to stand up against Palestinian drill.
إذا نرحب بكم من جديد في هذه الحلقة الجديدة من
جنبا إلى جنب. الوحدة بين الأجنحة العسكرية الفلسطينية المقاتلة تجسدت في الميدان بشكل طبعا مباشر وشكل جيد. هذه الوحدة انعكست على العمل المقاوم في أرض المعركة، ما دفع العدو الإسرائيلي إلى التخبط في طبيعة عمل الأجنحة العسكرية المقاومة في قطاع غزة. فالتلاحم في الميدان وفي أرض المعركة كان له أثرا إيجابيا واضحا على سير العمل المقاوم في قطاع غزة. لذلك كنا من ككتائب مقاومة وطنية يعني مشاركين في كثير من العمليات المشتركة مع الأجنحة العسكرية، سواء سرايا القدس أو ألوية الناصر أو كتائب الأقصى أو كتائب أبو علي وغيرها من الأجنحة العسكرية الأخرى. وكنا من الداعين دوما وحتى قبل الحرب على غزة للوحدة الفلسطينية وتشكيل غرفة عمليات.
This just demonstrates how the presence of an oppressor like Israel forces unity on you. We're really not at war in the United States or in Europe, so we have time for all the sectarian infighting and arguing over who has the correct line. In Palestine, they don't. In Palestine, if these resistance groups were acting like we do in the United States, they would all be fucking dead. They would all be fucking dead. Israel would have fucked them up decades ago. But because they realized that was what was going to happen, and because their people hold them accountable and demand this unity from them because they are tied to the masses, they're able to do this.
وحدة لإدارة الصراع مع العدو.
طب لو انتقلنا إلى السيد أبو محمد الناطق باسم كتائب شهداء الأقصى لواء الشهيد نضال العمودي، حول هذه النقطة بالتحديد، لأنها بالتأكيد هي يعني مرتكز أساسي في أي نجاح لعمل مقاوم وبشكل عام للعمل الفلسطيني بشكل عام. يعني كنا في السابق نرى عمليات استشهادية، عمليات مقاومة بين فصيلين، 3 فصائل. يعني هل كانت لديكم في هذه يعني الحرب الإسرائيلية على قطاع غزة عمليات مشتركة مع فصائل، خصوصا الفصائل الكبيرة؟
بداية دعني أحيي أبناء شعبي المرابط الصابر الذي احتضن المقاومة الفلسطينية وكان داعما أساسيا لهذه الفصائل المقاومة التي علمت العدو دروسا في الميدان لا ولن ينساها. وثانيا بالنسبة للوحدة، هي بالفعل كانت هناك وحدة ما بين فصائل المقاومة، كانت هناك عمليات مشتركة ما بين كتائب الأقصى لواء العمودي وكتائب المقاومة الفلسطينية، وأيضا مع الإخوة في سرايا القدس وبعض فصائل المقاومة. بالفعل وحدة المقاومة في خندق واحد أوجعت العدو الصهيوني. وللعلم وللتذكير أخي وائل، آخر عملية ما قبل الاندحار الصهيوني من قطاع غزة كانت هناك عملية مشتركة، هي عملية جسر الموت، كانت مشتركة ما بيننا وبين الإخوة في سرايا القدس، الاستشهادي طارق ياسين ويحيى أبو طه عن الإخوة في سرايا القدس. نعم، نحن مع وحدة الفصائل المقاومة لردع العدو الصهيوني بإذن الله تعالى.
أبو أنس، أنت كمتحدث باسم كتائب المجاهدين، السؤال بعد انتهاء الحرب، كيف تبدو المقاومة الفلسطينية خاصة مع هذا السيل الكبير من الغارات والاستهدافات التي كانت فيها الحرب؟ هل هي أكثر تصميما، قوة في الميدان، توحدا، أم أن الأمور على عكس ذلك؟
أولا بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم، الحمد لله الذي أعزنا وأيدنا ونصرنا، الحمد لله الذي دائما كان معنا وأيدنا.
Note that he said praise to God, not praise to Marx, Lenin, Engels, Stalin, and Mao. Just a note for our anti-theist, Reddit atheist comrades.
الذي عليه توكلنا وهو نعم المولى ونعم النصير. ثانيا لا بد من لا يشكر الناس لا يشكر الله، لا بد من هذا الموطن، من هذا المكان، أن نشكر الإخوة في قناة الجزيرة على التمسك بوحدة المقاومة الفلسطينية ووحدة الشعب الفلسطيني.
The unity of the Palestinian resistance and the unity of the Palestinian people.
بعد ذلك سأتوجه إلى السؤال الذي طرحته. السؤال الذي طرحته، المقاومة الفلسطينية ما زالت مستعدة، ما زالت قوية، ما زالت متماسكة، وأكبر دليل على هذه التماسك بين المقاومة الفلسطينية الجلوس الآن مع الإخوة في الأجنحة العسكرية. وأيضا خلال المعركة مع هذا العدو الصهيوني كان هناك تنسيق عالي المستوى، تنسيق ميداني عالي المستوى مع إخواننا في كتائب الشهيد عز الدين القسام وإخواننا في سرايا القدس وباقي الفصائل الفلسطينية. نحن في كتائب المجاهدين نعتمد على جانبين أساسيين في خوضنا مع هذا العدو الصهيوني. الجانب الأول وهو الجانب الأساسي هو التوكل على الله واليقين بالله والثقة بالله أنه هو نعم المولى ونعم النصير، هو الذي أيدنا وهو الذي نصرنا على هذا العدو الصهيوني.
سيد أبو أنس، يعني بالتأكيد ما تتحدث به جيد، لكن هناك من يقول أو يريد أن يعرف على الأقل، هل هذه الجولة من القتال؟ وهي مجرد جولة، هناك مراقبين يعتقدون بأن هذه جولة وربما تأتي جولات، لكن لا نريد أن نستبق الأحداث. بكل الأحوال، هل هذه الجولة استفدتم منها وكانت بالفعل نواة لتأسيس وحدة ربما تكون أرقى من حيث المستوى لتصل إلى غرفة عمليات مشتركة تجمع كل الفصائل وبالتالي تنعكس على الأداء؟
هناك بين الفصائل الفلسطينية المقاومة على أرض الميدان تنسيق ميداني عالي المستوى، مما أدى إلى إثخان هذا العدو الصهيوني في كل المحاور من بر إلى بحر إلى جو. وهذه أدت أو في الإعلام كان هناك الكثير من هذا الكلام. المقاومة الفلسطينية متماسكة، المقاومة الفلسطينية لديها تخطيط وتدريب وتسليح جيد، القدرة الكبيرة على المشاركة مع بعضها البعض حتى تحرير كامل فلسطين المحتلة من رأس النقورة إلى أم الرشراش، وذلك بإذن الله عز وجل.
أبو جمال، أنتم كمتحدث باسم كتائب الشهيد أبو علي مصطفى الذراع العسكري للجبهة الشعبية للتحرير فلسطين، ودون أن نتحدث عن المقاومة، هل أثبت خيار المقاومة أنه هو الأنجح والأنجع في مقاومة الاحتلال بعد تعثر المسار السياسي، وأنتم كمتحدثين باسم الأجهزة؟
Okay, so here's when to ask, like, is what you guys are doing, is that effective for what's going on now?
الأجنحة العسكرية للفصائل.
This is really pertinent because even though this is from 2014, like people are constantly saying in 2023, you've got the pseudo-liberal Zionist doomers who are like, oh yeah, they're just going to ensure the massacre of all the Palestinian people. Israel is going to ethnically cleanse the area. So let's get a dose of revolutionary optimism.
فلسطينية.
مساء الخير لكم، مساء الخير لإخوتي ورفاقي ممثلي الأجنحة العسكرية المقاومة في قطاعنا الصامد، مساء الخير لأبناء شعبنا الذين صمدوا في غابة البنادق فكانوا نعم الظهير ونعم
The forest of rifles. I love how like poetic Arabic is as a language.
من نصير المقاومة. يعني بالإجابة على سؤالك حول المفاوضات وخيار المفاوضات وثبوت فشله وعقمه، بعد طيلة هذه السنوات الجبهة الشعبية بالمعنى السياسي رفعت شعار أن الجنوح نحو المفاوضات هو انتكاسة وإجهاز على الانتفاضة الفلسطينية ومن قبلها الثورة الفلسطينية. هذا بالمعنى السياسي. بالمعنى العسكري ما يخصنا ما سأتحدث به كقطاع عسكري يتبع الجبهة الشعبية لتحرير فلسطين، نحن نؤمن أن لا خيار ولا تعامل مع هذا.
We firmly believe that there is no option or dealing with this enemy other than resistance. So basically he's saying later for negotiations, if you are pushing negotiations, he's saying that you are you're selling out basically. The only way to deal with these Zionists who want to take all of our land, who want to massacre all of our people, who want to drive us out of Gaza and out of the West Bank and establish this greater Israel bullshit, the only way to deal with people like that, who don't care whether you're sitting or standing or protesting alongside the fucking border wall, the apartheid wall, like, the only way to do that is to get weapons and fight that.
العدو سوى المقاومة. المقاومة هي النقيض التاريخي للاحتلال، وجدت بفعل الاحتلال واستظل قائما ما ظل الاحتلال قائما على أرض شعبنا، ما ظل الاحتلال جاثما على أي ذرة تراب في أرض فلسطين من رفح حتى الناقورة. الآن خيار المقاومة والحديث عنه ربما من أكثر يعني المكاسب التي حصدتها المقاومة الفلسطينية خلال هذه الحرب أن بعض الفصائل بعض الجهات الفلسطينية ممن لم تكن تمارس الكفاح المسلح أو كانت تمارس يعني
So he's basically saying that this resistance in 2014 brought in people who really weren't fucking with it before. Now they're rallying around the option of resistance. So this was a political victory for the people who want to purge the Zionist entity from the land. We need to learn a lot from this in the United States. Like in the United States, we see left unity as something that's revisionist or rightist. No. When you're at war, you have to have unity. Otherwise, you're going to die. No one is listening to your lazy ass. Why don't you just stop the stream? Why don't you just suck my dick?
مزدوجين بشكل غير معلن بشكل هنا أو هناك، أصبح لدينا التفاف حول خيار المقاومة، وهذا أعادنا للدائرة الأولى عندما كنا نقول هذا العدو النازي بطبعه بطبيعته الإجرامية الاستيطانية الكولونيالية لا يمكن أن يحسم الصراع معه إلا بالمقاومة. لماذا؟ نحن نفهم هذا الصراع، نفهم الصراع مع العدو الصهيوني بأنه صراع تناحري تاريخي لا يمكن أن يزول أن ينتهي أن يحسم إلا بزوال أحد طرفيه. إذا وضعنا هذه المعادلة أمامنا صراع مفتوح لن يحسم إلا بزوال أحد طرفيه. للأسف الشديد إذا جنحنا للمفاوضات للتسوية نكون قد حكمنا على نفسنا بالزوال.
If we lean towards negotiations for settlement, we will have doomed ourselves to extinction. You hear that? So if you're saying the Palestinians should just sit down and negotiate with people who want their entire ethnicity, their entire nation dead, if you're saying that the only path, the only proper path is that of negotiation and you condemn the armed resistance, you're saying that you're condemning these people to extinction.
طالما ظل الاحتلال قائما.
I didn't kick it. The Twitch didn't kick him, I kicked them.
الصراع مفتوح، الصراع تناحري، من سيزول هو هذا الاحتلال، سيزول بالمقاومة.
طيب.
هكذا هي المعادلة.
نريد أن نستمع إلى السيد أبو عطايا وهو الناطق
Yeah, really good interview. Thank you for sending me that, my Balkan friend. This is how 22-year-olds looked in the 70s. that actually is that looks like how I would look if I had hair.
Donnie hasn't slept in several days since he was indicted, and after finding out that the Dominion voting systems are refusing to settle in their massive...
This is what American news is like right now, by the way. If you live in Serbia or Portugal or somewhere else far-flung, be glad that you don't have to subject yourself to these morons.
Lawsuit against Fox News. Guys, click the link in my bio. Brand new article on this with everything you need to know. And Donnie, good luck getting shut out.
None of these people look like they're having fucking nervous breakdowns. Oh, let's see what Sean Fain has to say. I'm still tripping off this guy's name. Like, yeah, let's name our child. We're Irish Americans. Let's name our child after the political wing of the IRA.
As we set a new contract deadline for May the 1st, 2028.
What the fuck are oil bandit parrots feeding their oil bandit children? High fructose corn syrup and starch and other nasty things. Like, there have been studies of what the American diet does to somebody that has previously been unexposed to it. It's not good.
May Day, International Solidarity Day.
And, of course, crackers. It's actually International Workers' Day, Sean. I'll forgive you this because you're so based otherwise. Crackers and chemicals. Exactly.
We did this for two reasons. I've always thought in my walk as a union rep that September was the worst time in the world to be going out on strike because sales start lagging when we get into the winter months. May made a hell of a lot more sense, but it also made sense to do it in a unified approach.
I'm surprised that they haven't, like, massacred this man yet. Like, I'm expecting a fucking red dot to appear right between his eyes.
Gotta get back to the days.
He's too dangerous.
To pay for our sins of the past. Back in 1980, when Reagan at the time fired the PATCO workers, everyone in this country should have stood up and walked the hell out. We missed the opportunity then, but we're not going to miss it in 2028. That's the plan. We want a general strike. We want everybody walking out, just like they do in other countries.
So he's calling for a general strike. Like, this is the leader of one of the biggest unions in the world calling for a general strike. That's extremely important. That is, like, that's based. This lady that Kav talked about in his fucking video on Palestine grifters says that she's half Viking. Anastasia Maria Lupis. She's half Viking, yet she ain't pillaged no monastery. She ain't got no ships. She ain't got no hordes. She ain't sacked no Saxon villages. That's thrall ass shit. Look at this. Look at what they did to this little girl's eyes. 13 years old. This is the consequence of being, like, crushed by a tank. Like, a tank basically destroyed her family's house. Destroyed her family's house and ran over her and her family over and over and over and over again. And that's what happens when you survive something like that. Oh, this is cute. Pro-Palestinian protesters are giving flowers to the South African embassy staff.
Thank you. You are the real free people. Thank you so much. You are the real people. Thank you. You are the heroes.
They say that Palestinians hate black people, though. People will just say anything. This woman has more drugs in her than a CVS pharmacy.
I love Gen Z.
I mean, it's not news. American politicians love drugs. Our ruling class is the most doped out ruling class in human history.
I see our college students at
Yeah, this lady is fucking high.
And let me just tell you.
Look at it. Even a dude to the left of her is like,
I love.
Well, what you on, sis? You all right? Need some water?
Gen Z. I don't know if something, I love Gen Z. So, okay, for the older adults, this is going to be a humbling thing I'm about to share.
This lady is vice president of the United States, and she can't even hold a conversation without giggling.
With you. If someone is 18 years old today, They were born in 2000.
Whatever happened to that Afro-Palestinian girl who was reporting on what is happening in Gaza? I believe she hasn't been hurt or martyred yet. I haven't seen her on my feed in a while.
Oh yeah, check that out. Think about that for a minute.
Did she even do anything besides do shit like that? No. People in Gaza are eating animal food. This person is grinding up animal feed and turning it into flour to make bread with. We are at the eat animal food stage of the genocide.
بدلا من القمح بعد أصبحوا يواجهون مجاعة نظرا لاستمرار الحصار الإسرائيلي وعدم إدخال المساعدات إليهم.
That's where we are. Islamic resistance in Iraq announces another attack in Israel, attacking the port of Ashdod today with suicide drones. Ooh, lovely. Several helicopters are seen transporting dead or wounded IOF soldiers after a severe attack by Hamas, which killed and wounded more than a dozen Israeli soldiers. Last count I saw, again, was 24, and the event was being censored. But people kept coming out and talking about it, so they eventually had to uncap it. So Netanyahu's probably going to be in even more trouble. The moment a Middle Eastern person tells a liberal they're not going to vote for Biden. Yeah, you want me to give the Mukhabarat your phone number? You want me to send your picture to the Mukhabarat? You're Egyptian? So here's Ben Shapiro. Here's fucking Elon Musk. Elon Musk is a noted anti-Semite and racist, along with being one of the richest men in the world. And he's using Auschwitz to launder his reputation. And then he goes on to share stuff from in wokeness. That's why you have to make sure that politically secure, like politically advanced people are in charge of places like Auschwitz. He was taking notes. Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised. A man shouldn't cook. Imagine being a grown-ass man who wakes up to get dressed and then decides he needs to go shopping so that he can pre-cook his meals and be ready for the week. Is this a bit? It has to be a bit. You not only waste time by doing the actual shopping and cooking, but you also waste time with the decisions related to it. This would include what you wear to the store, what route you're taking, what food you're buying, what form of payment you're using, what type of plastic bag you choose, how you'll cook the food, what way you'll store it. By the time you're actually finished doing this and making it all, you're not only finished physically but mentally. You've made 1,000 different micro decisions but wasted your cognitive ability. Hire a chef or get a woman. This has to be a fucking bit. Like, this guy cannot be real. This guy cannot be real. Inventor of the wheel, 4,000 before the common era. Signed professional model. Demand to help you achieve 0 to 50,000 followers on Instagram. Muslim. It's fucking... Gas station dude. Bro, why do you dress like someone's Jamaican grandfather? Man, we don't got time for no Yankee stupidness and joke. Then ring me up. I know that was a horrible Jamaican accent. January 22nd, 1994, African-American coal miner, communist, World War I veteran, and Spanish Civil War volunteer with the Lincoln Brigade, Claude Pringle was born in Holston, Virginia. 3 fun facts about Lenin.
Today, on the anniversary of his death, which falls on January 21st, we bring you 3 fascinating yet little-known facts about the iconic revolutionary leader, Lenin. Did you know that Lenin's favorite novel was titled What Is to Be Done? Inspired by this novel by Nikolai Chernyshevsky, Lenin wrote a very significant
He had a cat. Lenin loved cats. All communists love cats and eschew dogs.
piece called What Is to Be Done, where he criticized the Russian Social Democrats for their economic-focused approach among workers, advocating instead for a vanguard party to guide them towards political consciousness. This work would play a crucial role in the Bolsheviks' triumph in the October Revolution of 1917. Now let's talk about Lenin's ridiculous disguise on the eve of that revolution. Lenin was due to deliver a crucial speech to the Petrograd Soviets, calling for the overthrow of the Kerensky government. To avoid detection, he entered the building in disguise, with his face and arm wrapped in tape.
I said S-U. E-S-C-H-E-W. That means avoid.
And wearing a hat. When Lenin revealed himself, the workers and soldiers couldn't believe their eyes. During his now famous speech, he spoke the famous words, "All power to the Soviets." And in a dramatic...
You should have said all power to BRG, then we could have solved all these problems about who's going to lead the revolution. I don't want to lead the revolution. I don't want a big ass target on my head. I just want to sit in front of my computer and talk about it.
At a turn of events, Lenin survived a robbery at gunpoint in 1919. This time, a disguise wasn't even necessary.
Why the fuck would you rob Lenin? Like, does he think that communists have money or something? Why the... A communist has to be the worst ever person to rob. Why would you rob somebody that doesn't... Why would you rob somebody that doesn't have any fucking money?
While Lenin was off to visit Nadezhda Krupskaya in the hospital, he became a target for bandits, planning to rob mansions. Bandits blocked his car, and Lenin insisted on stopping to see if they were just patrolling officers. He revealed his identity, but the bandits misheard him, thinking he said Levin. This actually saved him and bought him some time. The bandits took Lenin, his sister, and bodyguard out of the car, stealing it as well as their documents and a pistol. The bandits later regretted not realizing this was Lenin and the missed opportunity for a lucrative hostage. So,
oh yeah, I see that. Like, yeah, definitely take the guy who's in charge of the country under, as a hostage. But like, robbing communists generally just is not a good idea. It's not going to end very well for you, especially a very powerful communist.
Jenin refugee camp is the area in which the Israeli government has concentrated its efforts of invasions and military attacks since October 7th.
What do you mean I would be a criminal? These are bandits. Of course they're fucking criminals.
وهددورنا شو بدهم؟ هي إرهاب يعني تخوفنا دولة إسرائيل كلها بخافش منها أنا بخافش منها.
فجرت هنا تفتح الجدران.
كل 3-4 أيام قاعدين بيجيبوا 2000
Yeah, Lenin actually stole, well, not stole, appropriated for the use of the state. See, one thing we communists are good at is euphemisms. Why would you rob someone with nothing to lose but their chains? I'm going to use that one in real life. Thank you. If I had money, I would send you like a nickel or a dime or something for your contribution to the revolution and my quest to become a stand-up comedian. Anyways, Lenin like had one of the Tsar's Rolls Royces. Like he basically put like snow treads on it. Well, let me see if I can find a picture of it.
قاعدة بتخرب بالشوارع وبتفجر دور فكرهم انه هذا الشغله بتاثر على معنويات هذا الشعب.
المقاومه مهمه عشان تقول لا، المقاومه مهمه عشان توقف بوجه الظلم ولو كان شيء بسيط.
That's Lenin's whip. That's the Rolls Royce. He had these and he had treads put on it. Pretty based.
The Siege of December is the longest of its kind since the Israeli military destroyed the camp in 2002. Although medics and press were denied access to the camp.
I'm going to go smoke. You all watch and meditate on this documentary about how Israel is basically destroying the West Bank, despite there not being any Hamas there. What would Lenin say about the Israel-Palestine conflict? Well, Stalin was actually... Stalin's USSR was actually the first country to recognize Israel in 1948. Lenin, on the other hand, he basically developed the communist, Marxist-Leninist, whatever you want to call it, position on oppressed nationalities. So Lenin would definitely be 100% behind the Palestinian resistance. Anyways, enjoy.
Camp by the Israeli army for the entire duration of the 60-hour siege. We were finally able to enter the camp and speak with the residents following the army's withdrawal.
فاتوا على تقريبا على 3:30 الصبح يعني، وبكل يعني الواحد نايم بسرعة فجأة واحدة بكت صوت التفجيرات كل لحظة تهز الدار كلها، كل ما يفجروا الدار تهز.
According to the Israeli military, 14 wanted suspects were detained and 10 terrorists were eliminated during the operation. Yet according to the residents of the camp, the majority of those killed were non-combatants and the incursion was directed at the civilians of the camp.
قال يلا اطلعوا برا، ضلوا يمشوا فينا. كنت لما تفجروا شيء يعني انتم، قال يلا بسيدر اطلع. ضلوا مشوا فينا، قطعنا يعني منطقة كان شيء فجر. كنا فجروا دورنا. عرفنا يعني فجروا عنا شيء. احنا ما عندنا دبابات ولا عندنا طيارات ولا عندنا دول زيهم هيك يعملوا فينا. الحمد لله رب العالمين، احنا بس قطعة سلاح من هالشباب الحمد لله مقاومين، ان شاء الله بيقدروا عليهم. هاي اهم شيء.
Since the establishment of the Jenin Brigade in 2021, Israel has made Jenin, which the military dubs the Wasp's Nest, a primary target of military aggression. Yet the small force of fighters are the only obstruction to Israel's constant invasions, which have gone unabated for years.
هذا جيش مش زي الجيش اللي كان يدخل على المخيم، هذاك تقدر تتفاهم معه وتحكي معه. هذا الجيش ما بتتفاهم معه، هي شغل زعرنه، هم منين بيجيبوهم هذول؟ من اي دول بيجيبوهم؟ هذا الجيش ما بعرف. اول ما بتفوت ما بتخلي شيء بالدار، يعني بتكسر الاثاث بتكسر. طب ليش تكسر؟ ليش؟ شو هدف التكسير يعني؟ هي ارهاب يعني تخوفنا؟ لا يا عم، احنا ما بنخاف منكم ولا بخاف من دولة إسرائيل كلها، بخافش منها.
Since October 7, the Israeli military has carried out more than 40 invasions targeting Jenin refugee camp alone. In November, Israel began a gradual destruction of the camp, first bulldozing its entrance and surrounding areas, and finally reaching the climax of its attack on December 11th in a full-blown invasion inside the camp. According to the residents, the Israeli army is attempting to target the social incubator for resistance fighters in light of the military failure to curtail armed resistance groups. هلا عمي، كيفك؟ الحمد لله على السلامة.
فجرت هنا. سطح الجدران، تنفيذ وتكسير وكذا وشيء. وما لك شيء يعني، ما في شيء يعني، احنا عندنا يعني لا حدا مطلوب ولا حدا مطارد ولا اي شيء يعني. بحس بالاكتئاب باليأس يعني هسه عيات انا ما معي مثلا اصلح حق هذا، شو عمل؟ لما راتبك 1800 شيكل وبتعيش عيلة انت بال 1800 شيكل لما بدك تلكي بالطنجرة يعني ايش يعني بكون بالثلاجة غير اكل وشرب يعني ايش بكون؟ شو بكون؟ يعني هذا البيض يعني هي بيض ولا لا؟ هذا قنابل يعني، هي يعني مكسرينها، ايش ذنبه هذا يعني؟ شو يعني هذا؟ يعني انت لما بدك تكسر هاي بدك تكسرها.
Israeli soldiers circulated videos of their raid on Jenin, flaunting their capture of Palestinians who were seen in humiliating conditions. According to the residents of the camp, even the mosque became the army's hooligan playground as soldiers sang and mocked Palestinian Muslims from the speaker throughout the night.
أي دار يقتحموها يضربوا اللي فيها ويعتقلوهم مباشرة، وحتى ما فيش عليهم أي شيء، يعتقلوهم ويودوهم على سالم. يلا بس ودوهم على سالم، وبعد ما يودوهم على سالم ويبهدلوهم هناك وما فيش عليهم شيء، بعدين كلهم يلا روحوا. هيا طب فاتوا المخيم ما خدوش ولا أي مقاوم، أنتوا تفششتوا بدور، قاعدين بتتفشوا بدور بس.
2023 was the deadliest year on record for Palestinians in the West Bank, with almost half of those killed in Jenin alone.
I'm back. If you don't smoke, please do not take up the habit. If I find out that you've picked up a smoking habit and you previously did not smoke, you will be in serious trouble, and I don't think you want to wake up to this face staring at you in the middle of the night. So, really important news from Palestine Legal. They actually helped me out quite a bit when I got in trouble in college for interrupting a Zionist event. We've received several reports of the FBI visiting activists in response to their social media posts criticizing Israel's genocide of Palestinians in Gaza. We want you to know your rights if approached by federal law enforcement. The FBI's discriminatory targeting of people who speak up for Palestinian rights on social media is an attempt to silence popular criticism of Israel. You have a right to speak up against genocide. You have a right to refuse to speak to FBI agents without an attorney present. We have a lovely thing in this country called the First Amendment. Our partners at the ADC, the American Arab Anti-Discrimination Committee, have also documented a disturbing uptick in FBI targeting and intimidation of proletarians, Arabs, and Muslims since October. If you're ever approached by law enforcement, read this document. If an agent knocks. So, very long, very good document. I am going to link it, and you should read it. If you don't read it, you're going to wake up to a very angry black red guard staring at you for not doing the reading. So this is from the Center for Constitutional Rights, and you should get to know it like the back of your hand. You can read more about the increased reports of FBI harassment of Palestinian, Arab, and Muslim community members in this article. This is from October 13th, almost a week after the glorious action of the 7th. And so they were running around harassing people at mosques and doing other atrocious things. Why? Because that's what Americans do. That's what Americans have been doing since the fucking 90s. So even though the Department of Homeland Security says that they don't have any specific credible intelligence indicating a potential threat to the United States, they are monitoring a variety of threat actors who might be driven by anti-Semitic sentiment. So, yeah. Just prevent yourself from saying stupid things on social media. Like the fucking the fucking likes and the fucking shares are not worth being harassed. I'm not saying you should be a fucking coward, no. I'm saying you should be smart. Jaylen Brown is rocking the Free Gaza bracelet. Once again, Black and Palestinian solidarity grows. Another closet queen caught up in his emotions. What is this? Why would you do that? Like why? Oh! The white girl is just sitting in the foreground here. Right in front of my salad. Loud sounds are so intriguing. Like, what was that? I stand a gap-toothed king. Huge freak waves hit Marshall Islands. Whoa!
Keep the door closed. Whoa! Whoa!
Even the ocean says oppose American imperialism.
What? Where's Viv? Where's Viv? Bert, you good? You good? Oh my God. Jake, are you okay? Coming in! Get out of here!
Hey, commies. Dice de producción industrial paime. Industrial Production Index after the election of Javier Milei. Two teenagers invited Joe Biden to their house for dinner, and the man really pulled up. I would rather pluck my eyebrows out one by one before I eat with fucking Joe Biden. Like, what exactly does this ghoul, what joy does this ghoul bring to the table? Why would you invite this fucking ghoul to your house? I got a new follower, real or porn bot? Porn bot. I imagine this is a dilemma that fucking Jackson Hinkle deals with every day. What the fuck is she having a seizure? Oh, let's see what this fucking horse-faced woman has to
Your
say.
lover's deal. You're trying to blame on the Jews so that the world will not talk about.
What do I think of Joshua Mofwad Paul's work? I love him. He's not controversial. He's only controversial amongst idiots.
You? Zionism is colonialism. Education, more like ignoration. The last time I checked, Cleopatra and Pharaoh were Egyptians, not Arabs, not Muslims. Also Lebanon and Syria. The Arabs that came from Arabia conquered.
What the fuck, bruh? Oh my god.
The whole area. Woo, baby, good for you. Just stop saying it about the Jews. Wait, and what about the funny part you're saying about the Israelis? Go back to where you came from. And who says it? The immigrants from the streets of Western cities. You left your Arab states only to immigrate to a place that you hate. You hate the culture, you hate the values.
Where does this woman live at? Like, I guarantee you she lives in fucking LA or Portland or somewhere.
You hate the state. So why
Arabia.
did you leave your countries in the first place? What?
Because you made them a shitty place to live.
Why? We had to leave our Arab countries because we did not have rights. So
or because the United States bombed them into oblivion.
We got to Europe, and Europe.
She looks like someone tried to draw Kim Kardashian from memory.
Oh, they have so many rights, and they treat us so nice. Suckers. We will use the infidels' rights and values to conquer them in the end. We want the Sharia law again. Gotta love your common sense. Western world, hello, did you hear? Oh dear.
This lady needs to be fucking deported to the middle of the Red Sea. Anti-Semites proudly display Nazi salutes, handing out anti-Semitic leaflets and shouting. If these people show up to a march, just kick them out. The National Hispanic Foundation shouting out less Latin Oscar nominees, but leaving out Coleman Domingo, who's literally having his moment while using the hashtag Latino representation is everything wrong with how my community treats Afro-Latinos. The ongoing erasure is bullshit. Insert irritated Afro-Caribbean side-eye. I don't want to say anything that'll get me canceled.
The movement towards socialism in Bolivia, the party of Evo Morales and Luis Arce, are in the middle of an internal split and has now turned into street mobilizations on both sides. Here behind me is a rally organized by Luis Arce. It's technically to commemorate the anniversary of the Constitution, but in reality is a rally in support of Luis Arce. And the main theme here...
That is a very handsome man. Serbians are not beating the Negro file accusations, I guess.
Here is a rejection of Evo Morales and the rival protests going on today in support of him. So from early Monday morning, supporters of Evo Morales launched protests in Cochabamba and Oruro, blocking key highways in the country. And the reason for this is that Luis Arce's government is attempting to ban Evo Morales from standing at the presidential elections next year. And they want to ensure that Luis Arce, rather than Evo, is the candidate for the movement towards socialism. This is the core reason behind...
So it's just sectarianism?
The faction fight.
Why would you ban? Well, like, why would you? That's just fucking sour grapes and jealousy. You're just jealous of Evo because he's more popular than you.
power struggle over who gets to be the candidate in 2025 and who controls the mass as a political party. Luis Arce and his supporters say that Evo's trying to destabilize the government so that he can return to power. Meanwhile, Evo Morales says that Luis Arce's government has shifted to the right and betrayed the masses' principles, especially in trying to ban Evo from standing, because that's something that every right-wing government in Bolivia has tried to do at some point. Both mobilizations have the participation of the largest social movements such as the Confederation of Campesino Workers, the Indigenous Women's Union, Bartolina Sisa, and others. And this is because all the social and indigenous movements are now split between those allied to Evo, those allied to the government. The government say that those allied to Evo are just hoping for positions of power in the event of Evo returning to the presidency. Meanwhile, Evo says that those allied to Luis Arce are corrupt and only support the government due to personal benefits that the state gives to those union leaders in the form of state jobs and funding for their unions. It's all gone very messy and involves lots of personal attacks between Evo and Arce as this internal power struggle is now on the streets. A power struggle that is splitting the party and opening the door for the return of the right. The pro-Evo protests are expected to grow this week, so we'll be keeping you updated.
That's fucked up. I hope it doesn't end up like a fucking Maurice Bishop situation.
The Chicago.
This is something I've been tripping off of for the past few days. It's like a hole that I guess a rat made in some type of wet concrete in Chicago. Chicago is a ratty ass city. Like the first non-human creature that I saw after getting off the bus to Chicago when I went there for the first time was a fucking rat.
Chicago rat hole has taken the city by storm.
Taking out back at the line is wanted. The sidewalk of West Roscoe, according to those neighbors, but recently at this site has rapidly
oh my God.
grown with people leaving everything from coins.
You can't even see the fucking thing.
To alcohol to other memorabilia on the site. Over the weekend,
people are getting married at this fucking thing.
Someone reportedly even got married there. And even Benny the Bull paid his respects. But according to a recent Reddit post on the Chicago subreddit, neighbors are quickly growing tired of the notoriety. They say that garbage is piling up, street parking is being taken up by curious passersby, and that there is noise at the site at all hours of the day.
People like start cults over the stupidest shit. I don't know what is wrong with Americans. Like, it's a fucking hole in the concrete. Why would you establish a movement around visiting this hole, getting married at the hole? Hey, this is the Reddit post that he was talking about. Since this thing went viral, here are some of the things that we've had to deal with. Garbage piling up, including vapes, cigarettes, alcohol, and food, vandalism, people partying outside our house during shots, pouring alcohol on the sidewalk, and leaving empty liquor bottles in the parkway at all hours of the day and night. Cars honking as they drive by. Total loss of privacy, especially for ground floor tenants. People filming videos to promote things such as improv shows, radio stations, businesses, etc., and leaving advertisements and flyers on the property. Reporters waiting outside our house and trying to interview us when we come out. Our mail carrier has been skipping our house due to the crowds and news crews. Chicago is Potawatomi land. Street parking being taken up all around the neighborhood. People doing weird-ass rituals like prayer circles and chants late at night. People accusing my neighbors and I of trying to fill the hole. We did not, and we don't know who did. But I'm honestly afraid someone's going to throw a brick through our window. This past weekend was absolute hell. We have always liked the rat or squirrel. It was a cute, quirky little thing in our neighborhood. It's not a monument, it's a hole in the ground. It's been there for at least 20 years, but now the internet has learned about it and taking things way too far. What was once a fun little quirk has become a trashy, cheap marketing ploy. Everyone wants to just capitalize on it and get their internet clout. I think someone even started making t-shirts. I have just been told that there's a Facebook group trying to start a rat hole music fest, and there have been talks of creating an official permanent shrine at the site. Leave these people in their neighborhood alone. And to wrap up my summation of the horrible things that have been going on the internet today, white hands hold guns and are called angels. Brown hands hold stones and are called demons. Oh yeah, the New Hampshire caucus is happening today. People are going to find out who has the biggest cock in the Republican Party. So I'll be talking about that tomorrow. Who has the biggest dick in the Republican Party?